Welcome to A Brief History in Audio. Way back in the late 1800s, there was this dude named Thomas. No, wrong Thomas. Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison worked for a telegraph company, and one day as he's tapping away at his telegraph, he had this idea. He thought, hey, if I pulled some paper underneath where I tap on the telegraph, it probably would record the bleeps and bloops on the paper as I pulled it underneath it. So he tested it, and it totally worked, and he was like, dude, I'm going to make a ton of money off of this. So he did, and after he invented the telegraph repeater, he has this idea. Hey, I probably could do the same freaking thing with audio. And so he messes around with a bunch of stuff for a while, and then he invents the phonograph. The phonograph recorded audio to these wax cylinders, and one of the first things Thomas Edison did with these wax cylinders is he put them in these creepy, terrifying dolls that would sing hauntingly awful music to you. After that, he had the idea, hey, I probably could record popular music on these things and sell them, and that was a gigantic hit. Thomas Edison keeps improving upon the cylinder, making them sound better, and so you could have more music on one cylinder, and he was making a ton of money, and other people thought, hey, I like money, so they invented their own cylinders to compete with Thomas Edison, and eventually they come out with flat discs, and the same thing happens. Everyone's like, these are so cool, and they sound so good, and we're making tons of money, so different kinds of flat discs come out, and there's all kinds of competition, and it goes on and on and on until the Nazis. During World War II, the Allied forces would bomb Nazi strongholds, and they noticed as they were bombing the hell out of these cities that the dude on the radio seemed unusually calm, all things considered. And I know what you're thinking. Well, it was probably just a recording. Well, yeah, it was a recording, but back in that day, the mentality of radio was that it was live. And so we didn't at first consider that it was a recording, especially since it sounded so freaking good. Then World War II comes to a close, and some dudes, namely Jack Mullen, John Herbert Orr, and Richard H. Ranger, were scavenging through the old Nazi tech, and they found magnetic tape, which was the source of the Nazis' superior audio technology. So Jack Mullen and his buddies were like, dude, we can make a ton of money off of this crap. So they started showing off how amazing magnetic tape recording was. At their second major demonstration, there was this guy, Murdo McKenzie, and he was like, dude, my boss would dig this audio tape. And so he sets up a meeting with Jack Mullen and his boss, Bing freaking Crosby. Bing Crosby was like, this crap is dope. So he invests a ton of money into magnetic tape recording, and it becomes a thing, and a golden age of recording begins. Fast forward to 1975, and Dr. Thomas G. Stockham invents the Soundstream, which is the first commercial digital recorder. Even though it was invented in 1975, this thing was freaking sweet! It recorded in a format that had a better audio quality than today's CDs. I mean, it wasn't much better than CDs, but it was still better than CDs, which is really cool. The problem with the Soundstream is that the file sizes it produced were hundreds and hundreds of megabytes large, and a tiny little 5 megabyte hard drive back in 1975 was thousands and thousands of dollars. So it was just way too expensive for digital audio to take off. Right about the same time the internet is taking off, this German guy named Karl-Heinz Brandenburg invented the MP3, which dramatically reduced your digital audio file size. Now that you could download your favorite music in a file size that was only a few megabytes large, people started saying, F buying music, I'm gonna illegally download it off Napster. Everyone starts doing this, and after a while, Metallica was like, hey, you a-hole, stop stealing our music. So even though Metallica kind of put an end to the Napster era, the damage was done. People didn't want to go all the way to the store to buy music anymore. They wanted to download it instantly. Companies took note and wanted to capitalize on this. So companies like Apple came out with iTunes, where you could legally download all your favorite music. The problem is, you were downloading MP3s, and MP3s sound horrible compared to the quality of analog audio. This pissed Neil Young off. He was like, hey, back in the 70s, we had sweet sounding music, and today it sounds like garbage because all you lazy people want to download MP3s rather than having quality, high quality music. And so he did something about it. He founded Pono, which is a music store that sells high resolution, hi-fi digital music. The weird thing is, even though MP3s sound worse than music recorded 40 years ago, people are so content with it because it's so easy to get that we don't care to find better sounding stuff. So will high resolution music take off? Who knows? That is where we are in the modern audio era. Thank you for listening to A Brief History in Audio.